The DJI Spark is the smallest and least expensive drone DJI has ever made, and it promises to introduce drones to a whole new audience, the very casual audience, especially vloggers and people on Instagram and other social media.
It's $500, so it's about half the price of the Mavic. It's got a 12 megapixel camera, and it shoots video at 1080p, 30 frames a second.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are rolling their eyes at that. The Mavic is 4K, the Phantom 4 Advanced and Pro are 4K 60p. So the video is a little less sharp, a little more choppy. We have a ton of drone-related videos, so subscribe to see the full review of this and visit stp.io/drone to check out reviews of other drones. The lens itself is equivalent to about 25 millimeters, so it's a wide-angle lens, which is good since this is designed to be working up close, not far, far away, and it's a little bit bigger than your smartphone sensor. So people are usually happy with the pictures in their smartphone. They'll probably be happy with the pictures from this. Looks like a good lens.
It has a 2-axis gimbal, so the gimbal works by going up and down and then twisting like a doorknob. The Mavic is a 3-axis gimbal, so that gives you a little more versatility.
Yeah, the gimbal stabilizes the camera, so it's not all shaky. If you ever put a camera on a drone without a gimbal, it's just all spazzy. And
but that one has, this one has electronic image stabilization.
Yeah, they combine together. From my take on looking at actual video from it, it's not as smooth as the Mavic, definitely not as smooth as the Phantom. It's a little choppy, but it's okay. It's good enough. It's good enough for most people. Yeah.
It'll work. It'll work. The battery life. This was something I was curious about. They're saying 16 minutes, and that is without wind, going about 12 miles per hour. So this is perfect conditions. Now, I've used the Mavic, I've used the Phantom, and I found these numbers to be a bit generous because it wants to land before your battery is dead, which makes sense. You don't want it dying in the air. I'm guessing people will get more like 11, 12 minutes out of this.
Yeah, and that's when it's new. I've also found these batteries lose life quickly. So 6 months in, you might be more like 8 minutes.
The batteries need their own little charger. I think it'd be cool if they came out with a USB charged one.
Yeah, it would definitely be nice.
Especially since they're marketing this.
Who wants to travel with a charger?
I know. Well, they're also marketing this towards people that might want selfies or to record their graduation or travel, and you don't want to charge. You don't want to travel with a bunch of extra stuff.
Yeah,
that would make it easier. It goes 31 miles per hour. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you really need that to fight the wind more than like covering distance. Because if it goes 20 miles an hour and you encounter a 30-mile-an-hour wind, guess what? It blows away and you don't get it back. You'll just never see it again. And around here, 30-mile-an-hour winds along the coast are real common. You can just be at the beach, and when you get, especially when you get 50 feet up in the air, you can often see 30-mile-an-hour winds. So even then, you're gonna have to put it in sport mode and really go full on just to get it back. So the Mavic is a little faster, a little harder to lose.
How about this one, Tone?
The operating range when you're using your mobile phone is about length of a football field, 300 yards, 300 meters. And it doesn't, at the $500 package, does not include a separate controller. So you're doing everything from your phone. I've done this with Wi-Fi on the Mavic, and it's okay. It's like, it's kind of hard to control with the phone, and you don't get super smooth footage when you're using your thumbs on your touch screen. But it works. If you get the optional controller, which comes with the Fly More package for $200 more, it has an operating range of 1.2 miles, less than the other drones, but still plenty far. And if you're trying to follow the law where you have to maintain visual line of sight, you're not going to see it at 1.2 miles. I'll also add, because it's small, but I'll also add that this is optimistic because that's in completely clear sky. And sometimes you get trees or buildings that might be interfering or reflecting signals. So higher numbers here also mean less chance of losing a signal. If it does lose a signal, it'll come back home though.
And this has obstacle avoidance as well. So it won't just go flying into a person or a tree. It's going to try to route around those things. I'm curious to see how that works.
Yeah, we just saw a case where somebody crashed their DJI Karma drone at a baseball stadium because it tried to return home, I think, and it doesn't have obstacle avoidance, so it just flew blindly into the stands. This wouldn't do that. It would see the stands and stop. So it's a real big safety thing, but it'll also save you some crashes. It has a visual system where it can see the ground and the walls and stuff if you're flying inside, so it'll be more stable when it doesn't have a GPS signal. Another thing, drones like the Karma lack. So you should be able to fly it inside and have it be okay. Of course, it has GPS too. Let's talk about the size.
Oh yeah, we got a picture from Casey's video here. He had a good video too. it is much smaller than the Mavic, but what I realize is that the little arms on this don't bend in like the Mavic. So when they're both completely folded up, it's not so much smaller that it's going to save you that much more room in your bag. The body itself is much smaller, but you can see that the Mavic's arms completely fold in. But still, it's smaller, it's lighter, and you can stick it in a backpack, or if you have a very large pocket, you can stick it in a big pocket.
Yeah, people keep comparing it to smartphones. It's way bigger than a smartphone. It's 2.2 inches deep.
If you're cool like Casey, you get a cool jacket.
Yeah, exactly. But you could cram it in a pocket. We travel with the Mavic all the time, and it fits in my backpack. Just no problem. The shape might actually be a little easier to handle because it's kind of just square and brick-like, so it slides in there. I still find the props, because they fold up and they're loose, they get snagged on things, and you'll have the same problem with
We should put a rubber band about
the spark. Yeah, rubber band is a good idea. So it's about like 30% smaller in volume than the Mavic when it's folded up. So it'll take a little.
The Mavic size doesn't bother me, so I don't think this is going to be a problem at all.
Yeah,
it's easy to travel with.
But is it easy enough for their target audience to use? Because all the ads feature, teenagers who are big on Instagram, sharing their social media. They're at graduations or at the beach, and they're suggesting that you use it for selfies instead of your smartphone. Do you think?
I think I think it's possible. I've seen people go to great lengths for a good selfie. We were just at the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and I saw a girl reposing and primping for at least a half hour to get the perfect shot. People are putting more time into their social media and their image. I think a lot of people will take the time to do this. With 15-minute battery life or 16-minute battery life, you might not get that much use out of it on a whole trip. Do you see what I'm saying here? You throw it up, you use it for a few shots. If it takes you 5 minutes each time, that's 3 shots. So I'd like to see how it works in practicality, how much use you can actually get out of it when you're carrying it around all day.
Yeah, the Fly More package does come with a couple of extra batteries too, so you could keep going. I just worry about how long it actually takes you to pull it out and set it up, and whether your group of friends is actually going to have the patience for this, or if they just want to grab a quick selfie with their hand. Like whether the benefit of the additional distance and video quality will pay off for the extra effort, because there is more effort. It's more of a pain than using your smartphone.
It's more effort, but I think this is a step in a really interesting place, because we had done a prediction video 1 year ago, almost to the day, where we predicted there would be selfie drones that followed you around and took pictures and things like that. I think that this is headed even more so in that direction. We might even see smaller ones soon.
Yep, this is exactly it. And it really is exciting, especially since you don't have to pull out your smartphone. You can control it completely with your hands, just giving it visual cues to tell it where to go and when to take a picture. It'll do it for you. So you don't have to go through the whole linking process with your phone, which is also can be a pain.
Yeah, that's nice.
If you splurge for this Fly More package for $200 extra, you get those batteries and you get this controller shown on the left, just in contrast to the DJI Mavic controller. I want to point out it doesn't have the kind of cheesy screen that the Mavic controller has, but I do like the screen on the Mavic controller, because there have been a couple of times when I lost sight of it, and it at least clues me in that how far away it is and what direction it's heading, because sometimes the app can flake out too. I also want to point out that I hate the way you have to wedge your smartphone into the arms on the Mavic controller, and they still use that design, even though I hate it.
Even though you hate it, like they were like, guys, Tony
hates it. We can't do this anymore.
I'm not a fan of that design either. I find it
clumsy. Right?
I find it clumsy. That's the exact word I was going to use.
I also want to point out all the videos seem to show it using prop guards, and that's good if you're going to be flying it close to people, because it could easily, the wind could catch it could blow into somebody's face.
I'm waiting for it to get tangled in a girl's hair.
Yeah, so the prop guards are smart, but it's one more thing to carry and a little bit more effort to actually snap it on. I use prop guards if I'm flying inside or something, but they are always kind of a pain.
Ooh, look at her hand.
It's being alive. It looks like it's teleporting it or stealing her hand.
Very future.
They're emphasizing that this can be hand launched and hand landed. And I think that's a big deal, because just the fact that you have to put your drone on the ground and clear out a big space around it is always kind of a pain, especially if you're in a crowded area. And God forbid, if there's like a kid or a dog around, they'll see it firing up on the ground and go after it. So I think it's much safer that you can launch it from your hand. If you want more information on that, visit that link, stp.io/hand launch, where I discussed it some time ago.
You have a video called Hand Launch? You're a strange guy, Tony Northrup.
It is for automatic cinematography modes where it will do these kind of cool drone moves that you might see in movies. Rocket, where it goes straight up and the camera is pointed downward. It has a move called Droney, which is a nickname for me, where it flies backward and upward while staying locked on the subject. Circle is what I would call an orbit, where it goes around the subject, keeping it in the frame. And then Helix, which kind of spirals outward. It will then capture this video and actually edit it down for you. So maybe speeding up part of it.
That's so cool.
It starts out slow and whips out and then slows back down. So that way, when you pull your phone out, it's all just kind of waiting there for you, ready to put on Insta or wherever you might want to put it. It supports all the intelligent flight modes that the Mavic has. So things like active track still work. And we found that they work pretty well. They're not 100%, but for the most part, you can pull your phone out, touch your subject, and it will just continue to follow it until, there's a tree or something, and then it might get lost.
Look at that selfie. We're in the future.
Yeah, this is just showing off the hand controls. I'm eager to try out and just see how well this kind of stuff works in the real world. This is the Fly More package. Oh no, this is a standard package. You get the one battery, you get 8 props. No, you get 6 props. So that means you come with 2 extra props in case you crack them. I've never broken a prop, so it's not something that happens all the time. And this is the Fly More package, which is $200 more for $700, which includes the prop guards, the little charging station, which will charge 3 batteries at a time. Oh, you know what? It is USB chargeable. My bad.
Tony,
the standard one is USB chargeable. You just need,
me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You just need the charging station if you actually want to charge multiple batteries at a time. So when you're on the go, you don't need a separate charger.
That's smart.
That's important to know.
I'm glad I suggested that before I knew it was.
Quick comparison to the Mavic. It's twice the price, has 1/4 of the detail in video. It had 2-axis gimbal instead of a 3-axis gimbal, so it won't be quite as steady.
Half the price. Yeah.
Yeah, the battery life is less, but it's smaller. But especially when the Mavic is folded up, it's not that much smaller. The controller is $200 extra. It's not quite as fast, which is mostly meaningful if you need to fight high winds, which you might be surprised how often comes up if you fly a little bit higher, go out on the beach or something. And the range isn't quite as far. And again, I don't expect you to fly the Mavic 4.3 miles away. It's more about the strength of the signal that you have at more moderate distances, which even on the Mavic, sometimes you can get interference and lose a signal. I also wanted to bring up laws, because I think if people care at all about laws, then this cannot be very successful, because FAA laws prevent you from flying this in basically any city in the world, basically all populated parts of Canada, but you couldn't fly it in any city in the US because they're all within
that's
5 miles of an
why I
airport.
had the idea of making a drone leash, and it's a bracelet on a string attached to your drone, and then it's a kite.
Yeah, then it's
and
a
then
powered
it's
kite.
legal. I don't know if that's
I saw
true.
a Kickstarter
Don't
for
do
that.
Did you really?
Yeah, that is, somebody's working on that. I don't know if it's
Dang,
actually
that was
going to take
the
off.
dumbest idea I could think of.
So I suspect people will either have to decide to ignore the FAA laws so they can just use it casually,
Yeah.
or it won't take off much at all. But even when Casey did his review of it, he had to pick up and leave New York City because he can't fly in New York
Well,
City.
he's pretty high profile.
Well, right, but that's another thing. People break laws all the time. You might drive 65 in a 55 zone, but presumably all the video that you take with it is going to be shared somewhere. So you're kind of posting your own evidence of breaking the law
Yeah.
online, and I don't expect the FAA to go after every single person. But so that's my question, like, are people going to care, or are they just going to freely break the law? Because if you want to follow the law, nobody would have that much use for this thing unless they were a serious content creator.
Well, I mean, you could be somebody that lives in a big city, but you travel or you hike or you go camping or...
Yeah, I think those are great scenarios. You can't, but
and-
it's not like a day-to-day thing. They kind of positioned it like you have this with you whenever you're out with your friends and you'll just pop it up. I think it's more like I'm heading out on an adventure and I want to tell that story.
Yeah, well, I think that the laws are going to be interesting, and they're going to have to shift and change. We might even see drone selfies in the future that are limited to flying at only 10 feet and can only be a certain weight and have certain safety regulations.
Yeah, I would love to see DJI push the FAA to let us fly, say, up to 50 feet. Because no airliner is going to be coming through at 50 feet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully they loosen up the laws to make these types of things legal to fly, so that, because people are going to do it anyway. and it's really not impeding other aircraft if you're flying down low. So let's loosen it up and let people actually do this.
Yeah, I think people are going to do it anyway, and I think that if companies like DJI make the drones safe enough so that they're not causing accidents, then people won't see it as a big deal. If they're crashing into people, crashing into planes, hurting people, even if it only happens a dozen times, it's going to make the news. That's the way that it works.
I appreciate that about DJI. They're good on safety. Smaller drones are good for that. They have less energy, and prop guards, things like that. I think these are going to be pretty safe. Should be shipping June 15th, 2017. You can pre-order yours at sdp.io/spark. Thank you much for using our link. Subscribe to see the full review. Any questions or follow-up comments, add it down below, and we'll see you when the actual drone is ready. Bye, guys.